Good morning, my beautiful friends, and happy Monday. Happy February 17th. I am currently 40 weeks pregnant plus 4 days. So I'm definitely going to have a baby this week, and I'm super excited about it. But here I am, and hopefully going to deliver some awesome value for you today. So I'm a little tired, right? Because, like 40 weeks plus 4 days pregnant. And let's be real, my little sister came into town and she's been like totally my savior and my saving my sanity because I haven't been lonely and just sad that my cute baby still has not come. So, but because I'm a little tired, and let's be real too, I'm a little tired because I've been staying up till 12:30 playing games the last couple nights in a row, which hmm, maybe that's not the best idea when you're like 40 weeks pregnant, but it's okay. It's been super fun. So, and it's not a forever thing, right? So, but because of that, I have been thinking a lot about energy and things that give us energy. And I've been reading some super solid books lately that talk a lot about energy. And so I just kind of wanted to like compile it um, and share some knowledge with you about how you can increase your energy. If energy, sorry, I just thought of something else that I want to write down so I don't forget it because pregnancy brain is super rough for me. So I want to share it with you just in case energy is something that you also struggle with. And you're like, you know what, I hate being tired and I hate feeling lethargicness and feeling like I need a nap and whatever. So I just want to share the things that I have found that super totally help give energy to me. Okay. So the very first thing that I want to start with is probably the thing that we overlook the most. And that is something magical called sleep. Yes, I read the book called Essentialism, and he talked about the importance of sleep in that book. There's a whole chapter dedicated to sleep, and he talks about like high performers. They think that they need to burn the candle at both ends of the stick. They have to wake up early. They have to stay up late in order to be super mega productive and get things done. They need to maximize every minute of every day of all the time, and they're therefore not getting very much sleep at all. And it comes back to bite them in the butt. They wake up early and they just find themselves wishing all day long that they could go back to sleep. And he just quoted study after study after study after study of people who actually got 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night and how much better they were performing throughout the day because they didn't need a nap. They had energy to do the things that they wanted to do, and they had the mental capacity to do it. Now, I understand, trust me, I'm about to have a newborn. I understand what it's like to be a mom and to be interrupted and have interrupted sleep. But there's a very big difference between, okay, I had interrupted sleep and I went to bed at 10:30 and woke up at 5 and I had interrupted sleep. So like, even if I hadn't had any interrupted sleep, I still only gave myself 6.5 hours. And that's if I never got interrupted and if I was able to fall asleep very quickly. Okay. So that's like best case scenario. Okay. What if I was nicer to myself? And okay, I went to bed at 9:30 and I set my alarm for 5:30. So that, okay, best case scenario, if I fall asleep quickly, if no kids wake me up, I'm giving myself 8 hours of sleep, right? Or even better, 9:30 to 6:30, right? And I'm sure if you're anything like me, you probably just had a panic attack in your heart a little bit. Because I heard that in essentialism and I was like, I can't do that because my mornings and my evenings are the only time that I have without kids. And no, like I can't give up that time because then I will have no time to myself as a mom. Um, but we've been trying a lot harder to go to bed at 10:30, and we haven't been setting our alarms till 6:30 since reading this, and I don't need a nap anymore. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you're super lucky that your kids still nap. And I have a 3.5-year-old and a 20-month-old, and I'm about to have a newborn. And yes, they all nap. I'm assuming my newborn's going to nap. But for real, it's not really an option at our house. Um, yeah. And that's just a battle that I choose to fight, is every single day, like, you take a nap. And even if you're just going to sit in your room quietly for the next hour and a half, he has an alarm clock. I'm talking about my 3.5-year-old specifically. He has an alarm clock that he has to abide by. And when it turns green is when he can come out of his room. And we have actually turned his door handle around. So if he chooses not to listen, we lock him in his room. And but to be honest, we have to use that more at night than we do at nap time, because his whole life nap time has never been an option. And even when we're on vacation, he takes a nap. Even when we're at Disneyland, he takes a nap, like, in the stroller, and someone walks him around, but we tell him, like, okay, dude, it's time to take a nap. And it's just like very much a part of our routine, whatever. So maybe you're like, okay, well, I've already blown that because my kid's like 4 and it has not been a part of our routine. But I truly believe that my kid, like, is going to nap till he's probably 5 or 6. Because it's just a part of our routine. And if you read books about sleep and napping and stuff, it, like, teenagers still take naps sometimes. So I don't believe there's ever any like hard and fast set rule, like, okay, my son is 3, he doesn't need a nap anymore. Like, how many adults do you know that still need a nap, right? Like, so I personally am a huge believer in nap time. So that was like a weird random plug, but there you go. For whatever reason, I felt like that needed to be shared. So because I have been striving to get better sleep at night, I don't need a nap when my kids are napping, even though I'm 40 weeks, 4 days pregnant. So I've been able to use nap time to truly, like, it's the middle of the day, my kids are asleep, I'm not tired because my day isn't over, I'm not tired because my day just started, I can just do my thing. And I have like at least an hour and a half, sometimes up to 3 hours, depending on how long his nap is, to myself to do whatever it is that I want to do. And that has helped immensely. But I do, like, if you're like, but my kid doesn't nap, like, okay, maybe I don't know what your life looks like. I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I would try to finagle however you can to make sure, if you're putting your kids to bed early or whether you're waking up a little bit before your kids, I want to make sure, one, you do have a little bit of time to yourself without children for one, at least half an hour a day to fill your cup and make you happy, whether you do your workout, whether you read a book, whether you watch a show on Netflix, whether you read your scriptures, whether you whatever, like, do something every single day to fill your cup. And personally, I don't, like, is Netflix awesome? And does it, like, is it nice to sometimes have a mental release? Yes. But if that's the only thing that you get to do without your kids, it's not really oh my gosh, struggle bus, feeding your spirit and your mind and your brain, right? It's feeding you, but is it nourishing you? No, there's a difference, right? So if you truly want to have that energy that I'm talking about, make sure you're utilizing that time without your kids to do things that nourish you, not just feed you, not just entertain you, not just help you relax. There are things that can relax you that actually nourish you, like meditating and, like, hey, babe, give me a back rub, right? Like, or tickle my back, or it's time for a massage, right? Like, there are things that can nourish you versus just relax you, numb you. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay, hopefully. But again, no judgment. If you want to, like, just sit down and watch a show by yourself, I get it. But if that's the only thing you're doing every single day by yourself without kids, maybe it's time to reflect on how you can improve your time without children so that you can have more energy for yourself, for your family, for your life every single day. Yes. That was totally a random tangent that I was not really planning on going on, but there you go. Apparently it needed to be said. So try to get 8 hours of sleep is the gist of that one. Yes. But again, make sure you're doing things that make you happy, that nourish you and give you energy when you do have some alone time, whether it's at night, whether it's early in the morning because you woke up half an hour earlier, whether you're like me and have a little bit of time in the middle of the day, whatever that looks like for you. Yes. Okay. Next thing that will help you have a lot more energy is doing your best to avoid processed foods. And I know that sounds like dumb and like, yeah, sure. Right? Because I know that we all know that. Like we all know it. But sometimes it's so much harder to actually implement it. Like the head knowledge is there. The behavior is not there, right? Like I get it. I have like Lay's stacks, like equivalent of Pringles in my cupboard. I've got, pretzels and whatever junk food things in my pantry. Yes, that even I like to reach for too. But I notice a very distinct difference in my energy when I am fueling myself with whole, healthy, organic foods that are not processed. When 90% of my food is coming from the fridge and not the pantry. When I'm snacking on things like fruits and vegetables and proteins from my fridge and not just absentmindedly reaching for the empty carbs in my pantry because it's fast and salty and delicious, right? So if you want to have more energy, eliminate processed foods or do your best to have them very, very sparingly. Yes, and of course that goes to say sugar and treats too. Doing your best to enjoy fruit and enjoy Shakeology and enjoy all the healthy, delicious treat recipes that are in Fixate and Fixate 2 and the Fixate Cooking Show on Beachbody On Demand and the Beachbody blog. If you have Beachbody On Demand, there's so many sweets recipes that are still clean and healthy and supplement like berries, and there's like sorbets in there that are made from just like ice and Greek yogurt and fruit and stuff like that. Like there's still ways to satisfy your sweet tooth while still eating whole foods and healthy foods and sticking to be mindset or ultimate portion fix, whichever one you're working on. So if you want to have more energy, do your best to eliminate processed foods or have them very, very, very sparingly. Last week I decided not to have any sugar, and I didn't have any sugar Monday through Thursday. I allowed myself to on Friday. It was Valentine's Day. And I was so surprised at how much energy I had, especially being 40 weeks pregnant and like going past my due date and all the things. Like I had so much energy. And then Friday happened, and then the weekend happened, and I had sugar every day. And now I'm like, okay, I'm tired again. So I'm human. I get it, right? But I know that does make a huge difference in our energy when we can eliminate processed foods or have them very, very sparingly. And with that includes sugar and processed sugars. Yes, speaking of which, guess what my son just brought me for him to open? You can have a couple, okay, but then it's time for breakfast. Go get a fruit after you have a couple of those, okay? Deal? Okay. Next thing I want to talk to you about is a couple of specific foods that do give you energy. If you're like, okay, I don't really eat processed foods, I don't really eat a ton of sugar, I just want to give you a list of 10 things that are foods that will give you more energy. If you're like super intentionally, I want more energy. So this part will be really fast. Okay. So the first food on I just Googled it, if I'm being real, like what foods give you energy? And these were the top 10 things that are foods that give you energy. So the number one thing was oats, right? So oatmeal. I love these like gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, GMO-free, whatever cookies from Costco. They're called Heavenly Hunks, and they have oats in them, and they're organic. Oh my gosh, they are like sinfully delicious. But they definitely like they have a little bit of sugar in them. But I have noticed that if I choose to have that as a sweet treat, oh my gosh, struggle bus. If I choose to have that as a sweet treat versus like candy from my candy jar. Yes, I am a health coach and we have a candy jar at my house. There's a very big difference in my energy. Like I can almost feel it instantly. Like if I treat myself to a couple of pieces of candy, I'm like, okay, I need a nap, I'm tired. But if I have one of those, it's like, okay, like that satisfied my sweet tooth, I'm okay. Like, but I still only try to have it sparingly, right? But number one is oats. It will give you energy. And if you haven't tried those things from Costco yet, you should give them a try because they're good. Number two is bananas. Bananas are super fabulous and giving you awesome energy. Number three is Greek yogurt, super fabulous and giving you awesome energy. Number four is nut butters. They're super fabulous and giving you awesome energy. And the thing that I love about all of these things is you can find all of these things on the food lists if you follow Ultimate Portion Fix. So, and they're all pretty much at the top of the food list that they fall under. And so just love that. I love when the things that I'm learning from Beachbody and Autumn and Ultimate Portion Fix match up with everything else that I learn in other places. I just, it just like, yes, we're doing something right? I love that. Okay, the fifth thing is pistachios. Pistachios give you energy, and I don't know about you, but I love pistachios, yes. And obviously, like the ones that are salted are going to be like freaking delicious. The ones that are salted are going to be so delicious, but you want to try to get like a whole clean pistachio if you're going to shoot for pistachios. Yes. The sixth food that will give you energy is air popped popcorn. So that's like go get yourself some kernels and buy yourself an air popper and pop it yourself is going to be like the very best scenario. You can buy previously air popped popcorn, like Nearly Naked is a super popular brand of popcorn for people who are healthy, and it's air popped and whatever. But the very best way you can enjoy air pop popcorn is to just literally buy the kernels, buy an air popper and pop it yourself. So, okay, I can't get you some strawberries right this very second, but I will in just a little minute, okay? But if you want an apple or a banana, I think we have a banana in there. Okay, the seventh food that will give you awesome energy is dark leafy greens. And I always hate when they say stuff like that because I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like there are so many greens in the world. And the article that I was reading specifically talks about spinach and kale and making the base of your salad spinach or kale versus other things, right? And I don't know if you know this, but just like iceberg lettuce has like no nutritional value at all. If you look on the food list of Ultimate Portion Fix, it's not even on there as a vegetable. So I personally, romaine is my very favorite lettuce, but it's not dark and leafy. So is romaine like going to be the worst choice ever? No, it's still a lettuce and I'm still having a salad, right? But if you want to increase your energy, you can swap out romaine for spinach or kale. And if you're like, I hate kale, it is so bitter, it is so gross, try pan frying it in a little bit of olive oil. I learned that from the Fix 8 cookbook, actually. There's a kale salad, and that was my first experience with ever having kale as the base of my salad. And it says in there to pan fry your kale in a little bit of olive oil for like literally like 2 or 3 minutes, just until it's like tender and green, like a really dark green. And it takes out the bitterness of kale 100%. So then when I heard all these people saying like, kale is so bitter, it's so gross, I can't do it. And I was like, No, it's not. But I've never had it. I've honestly never had kale as the base of my salad, not that way, because I really enjoy it cooked in a little bit of olive oil to take out that bitterness. So try it. And then you let it cool, because who likes to eat warm lettuce, right? Like that's kind of weird. But it takes out that bitterness and makes it super good. So, and then baby spinach. Hopefully that's, self-explanatory enough. Um, Jordan said, great tip. Great. I'm glad. Okay. The eighth tip, or the eighth food that can give you super awesome energy, is salmon. And yeah, enjoy yourself some salmon. So good. The ninth food that can give you some awesome energy is almonds. And obviously, just like pistachios, the more raw, the better, right? Like, I don't think chocolate covered almonds is what we're talking about here, as much as I wish that was the case, right? Or salted almonds, right? It's just like straight up, like clean almonds. Yes. Because again, like we were talking about previously, as much as we can eliminate those processed foods, that your energy will increase. And that's, honestly, I love feeling that, because it just solidifies that thing we always hear, right? Like, food is your fuel, and you are a machine, and you have to fuel yourself. And if you put the wrong type of gas in your car, it's going to get mad at you and it might break down. And your body is the exact same way. Like, your body is a machine, it needs fuel, and the healthier you fuel it, the better it's going to run. Literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things. Yes. So the cleaner you can eat, the more energy you're going to have. And I understand, like I said, I'm totally human. But I also have gotten to that point where I understand, like, okay, if I eat this, not only am I going to be a little bit disappointed in myself because it doesn't match my nutrition plan goals, but I also need to recognize that I'm not going to have as much energy as I would if I didn't eat this. And I literally think that now. But I've been trying to focus on foods that give me energy for ever since I did 80-day obsession, I started it in October of 2 years ago, 2018. And ever since I did 80-day obsession, I crushed my nutrition. I had so much energy. I've been just really looking into, like, how do I sustain this? Like, how do I always have this much energy? Because this is awesome with 2 little people and all the things, right? It's awesome to feel good and to have awesome energy. And so you just need to recognize and know, like, yes, you can enjoy yourself and enjoy the sweet and salty things in life, but you also need to recognize you're not going to feel as energetic tomorrow, or maybe even immediately after, if you choose to have that, right? It does affect everything. And the 10th food that can give you awesome energy is chickpeas. I'll be real. I have had chickpeas in a soup that someone made for me. I've never made chickpeas myself. I have no idea how to use chickpeas. But I know that my friend that made this soup for me added chickpeas into the soup, and it was really good. So I do want to look more into ways to utilize chickpeas and add them into things. And I think it's like a vegetable, right? Like, you can add it into anything and just sneak it in. Like you could add it to eggs. You could add it to a soup. You could add it to a pasta. You could add it to whatever. I don't think there's any, from what I remember about having them, they aren't like super crazy flavorful one way or another. So it's not like they like super add or super take away from other flavors of things. They just kind of like bring on the flavor of whatever you mix them with. So, but chickpeas are another thing that can give you some awesome energy. So, okay, those are the 10 things. The last thing I want to talk to you about that gives you energy is, obviously, this beautiful stuff gives me energy. It's called Energize. It's a pre-workout, but I have this like every single morning as I'm doing my morning stuff, and it just helps me like get up, get my day started. I drink it within half an hour. I try to push play on my workout. Shakeology has also totally helped my energy. Like, I taught kindergarten, And I taught for 2 years. The first year I taught kindergarten, I was not a coach. And the second year I taught kindergarten, I was a coach. And the second year was when I was drinking Shakeology every day for lunch. I would just make it in the morning, put it in my shaker cup, put it in the fridge in the teacher lounge every single day, and I would just drink it at lunch. So yes, it was like 4 hours old, like blended 4 hours ago, but it still tasted fine. It was sitting in the fridge. It wasn't like bad for me or anything. It tasted better when I was having it on the weekends when it was fresh and freshly blended, of course, but it was super nice as a teacher to just like, I got my meal over there, I'm gonna chug it, have a little salad or a little leftovers from dinner last night or whatever. In addition to this, because Shakeology, if you don't know this, it's not a meal replacement unless you're eating 5 to 6 small meals a day. Okay. And you only have it once. It's a vitamin. It's not a meal replacement. So many people think that all we do is drink Shakeology. If you are someone who drinks Shakeology, that is just not true. You drink it once and it's only a meal replacement if you're having 5 to 6 small meals a day. If you're only enjoying 3 meals a day, it is not a meal replacement. There is not enough calories in there. You will starve to death. Okay. Just a little plug. But the difference between my first year of teaching and my second year of teaching, no Shakeology, I was so much nicer to my afternoon class when I was drinking Shakeology every day for lunch. And I was pregnant with Holland my second year of teaching. And I 100% attribute it to Shakeology and all the awesome things that are in there because, like, what have we been talking about this whole time, right? Like foods that give you energy, clean, healthy foods that bring your body the fuel they need to give you awesome energy. And oh my gosh, if that's not the definition of Shakeology, I don't know what is, right? But like my patience in my second year of teaching with my afternoon class versus my first were like night and day. I was so much nicer to my afternoon class. I was so much more willing to like answer their silly questions, hello kindergarten, and not get super frustrated and not have my fuse be like this big, but seriously, like, and as a mom, I've kept up that same habit. I always try to have Shakeology between noon and 3, 4-ish when my energy is starting to lag, when my patience is starting to like, right? And that's when I have it because one, it helps me conquer my like afternoon munchies and my sweet tooth. And two, it helps me be nicer to have more energy to finish my day and be a kind human, right? So, I would totally invite you, if you are a huge Shakeology believer like me, I would totally invite you to have it in the times of your day that you need the most energy. And or to have it at night in place of a dessert. Those are the two times that I've had the most success in my like weight loss goals, weight loss journey, energy, all those things is when I either had it between 12 and 3, 4, when I need the energy, when I am trying to kick those afternoon cravings and munchies, or when I swapped it out and like, this is the last thing I'm having every day. This is my dessert. Of course, I like blended it with all the awesome deliciousness, peanut butter, half a frozen banana, some almond milk, with some cold water. That makes a big difference, right? And it's like, tastes like peanut butter, Reese's peanut butter in a cup. I love it with frozen cherries, like so good, so good. And Jordan said, just changed this yesterday when we were planning our week ahead to move it to the noon time for the same reasons. Jordan, I'm excited to see if it helps you because totally, totally helps me have more energy when I have it at that time. The only time I ever have it in the morning is like if I'm traveling and I'm like, I know, like I mean, it's in my hotel room. I'm not going to be able to bring it with me, or I'm not going to be able to have cold water, or I just don't want to forget about it or whatever. So if I'm traveling, I have it in the morning. Or if I have like a super busy day where I didn't get to eat breakfast, I didn't have time to, I'll hurry and make it and have it for breakfast so that I mean, it's so much better to leave my house with something than nothing, right? And it's so much better to leave my house with Shakeology than it is to stop at McDonald's on my way out, right? So that's like literally the only time I have it for breakfast though, is if I'm traveling or if it's like a super crazy day and I didn't get to eat anything else. Because if you know me, you know I love my eggs, and I got to eat eggs every single day for breakfast. So, okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is in this book that I finished last month called There's No Plan B for Your A Game. He talked about doing 66 days of something, whatever it is that pushes you towards your goals. And he talks about like doing the thing that you most fear, that you know will make a huge difference in the goals that you have. And he's not talking about nutrition specifically, but I am going to talk about nutrition specifically. Unless you have something else that you're like, I have a goal, I have a dream that I'm pushing for my family, for my work, for my mom life, for my church, for my whatever. Like, if you have a goal that you like, it comes to mind, this is what I want to do every day for 66 days to make it a habit, to drill it in, to really change my life. I challenge and invite you to do something for 66 days. And when he was talking, the thing that just kept coming to me was, Bryn, you need to avoid sugar for 66 days. And he talked about it, that specifically. And he talked about how his son did it. And it just made me like, whew, you're right. Because like, I think I'm totally addicted to sugar. And I think it's really empowering when we prove to ourselves that we can do something that we didn't think we could. I don't know if you have gotten to experience that recently, but there is real power in committing to something and seeing it through, no matter how hard it gets. And no matter how much opposition you face and how many naysayers you have in your life, yourself included, right? But I really want to challenge you to reflect on what you can do for 66 days, something that scares you, but something that you know will change your life. And I want to challenge you to commit to doing it. And I'm just telling you now, I'm committing to 66 days of enjoying fruit and Shakeology as my sweet treats, instead of processed sugar. So yeah, that's everything that I've got for you today. And I hope that was super helpful. I hope that this gives you more energy, right, to live your fabulous life and to show up the way that you want to for everyone in your life, yourself included. Yes. Last thing I want to say is there's a quote from Rachel Hollis in the book Girl Wash Your Face. And she talks specifically about, what if just this once I did this for me, right? What if just this once I actually did what I said I was going to do? And she talks about, like, with her Diet Coke, 30-day without it, right? She did not think she could do it, but she totally did it. And she did it for herself. She didn't do it for anybody else. She did it to prove to herself that she could do something, that she committed to, and that she could be strong. Right? So I want you to think of your 66 days of whatever, and I want you to just remind yourself, what if just this once I actually did it? And what if just this once I showed up for me and I accomplished what I wanted to, because I didn't give in even when it got hard, right? And like, I'll be real, the 2 times that I have successfully committed to something and completed it, I made it the screensaver on my phone, so that I was reminded of it every single time I picked up my phone. And when I was doing 80-day obsession during Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, I made my screensaver. It just said, what if just this once? And that's all it said. And it was just like, I used the app Word Swag. It was just a white background with those words on it, made it the screensaver on my phone. And I was just constantly reminded, like, every single time I picked it up, what if just this once I actually did what I committed to doing? And just barely, because I'm committing to the 66 days, right? I made the screensaver on my phone. I don't know if you can see it, but it says, I'm doing this for me, because I don't want to do this for other people. I want to prove to myself that I can do hard things. And it has a postpartum picture of 6 weeks postpartum with my son, and then like the smallest and healthiest I ever felt. And I want to get back to that place. Why? For myself. Because I felt so good and so confident in that place right? And I did it by fueling myself with whole, healthy foods that gave me awesome energy. I was doing personal development. I was feeding my mind. I was feeding my brain. I was feeding my spirituality. And I'm doing this for me, right? What if just this once, right? I actually stuck to what I wanted to. So I love you. If you are watching the recording, I will see you later. If you're on live, stay on live. We can chat for a sec, and I'll see you later. Oh, and just a heads up, I am definitely having a baby this week, whether she comes on her own or I'm getting induced on Thursday, because I'll be 41 weeks and my doctor won't let me go past 41 weeks. So definitely having a baby this week, but we will still have a nutrition call next week. My girl Megan, I have asked her if she would lead it for us. She's been preparing and planning ahead. She's going to lead it for us. I will hopefully be on the call as well and just like introduce her, but I'll be more listening and spectating and soaking it all in rather than actually leading it, just because life with a few day old, I have no idea what that's going to look like quite yet. So, but we will still have a call, but it will be Megan who is leading it. So just wanted to give you that heads up.